Well, Greg Gutfeld schools the Democrats on why their race card and other divisive tactics don't work anymore. What's up, everybody? Truth Seeker here. It is kind of mind-blowing how stupid the left is, especially with the whole pushing the transgender stuff and everything else like that. How disconnected they are from actual reality is mind-blowing. But coming in from the Gateway Pundit, it says, this week on The Five, Greg Gutfeld provided some education for Democrats on their tired and expired race card and other divisive tactics, pointing out why they don't work anymore. The country has moved on. Much to the horror of Democrats, no one wants to hear their accusations. No one is even listening anymore. Greg points out that even though the left seems to think that they are all about the future, they are completely trapped in the past. I'm going to go ahead and roll the video right here.
Leaders are living in the past, which is what the race card literally is. You're living in the past to imprint it on the future. The things that they say are happening aren't happening. It used to work. We used to be paralyzed by the fear of the scarlet letter R for racism, but the race card doesn't work anymore on half the population who sees through it. The other half are just doing it out of habit. But, we disarmed the left because we lost the fear. And so now it's just a gun shooting blanks. You may appeal to the voter who agrees on race, but you already had them. And absent of other tools beyond the race card, you are kind of like a fat, out of shape fighter with no way to win but to call out the refs or just cancel the whole game. The underlying emotion in all of this is that the Dems have exploited fear. And it's not just here. If you think about how profoundly awful was trans rights for kids to give perverse men the agency over our children's sexuality. How did that happen? It was like we feared the swarm of activists calling us transphobic. We feared being called bigots if we came out against illegal immigration. We feared punishing criminals because we thought we were going to be called racist. Once you lose the fear, you can finally get back to the normal way things go. And the Democratic Party, in my opinion, still has to do that. They haven't done it. They're still on the same path to destruction they've always been on, which is identity politics. It's taken this country down a terrible path. Harold brought up 20 years ago, race relations were better. All the polls show that. They were better.
I don't think so.
Oh, yes, they were. Well,
I think the natural progression as we get better. We're going to speed bumps.
All right, I'm just using the polling. I'm pulling at Jessica here. The polling on race relations were far more optimistic before Barack Obama was elected, and then it just got worse and worse. And I'm not saying it's on him, but I'm trying to figure out what happened since then. Did the KKK return? Was discrimination now decided to be illegal? Was there some kind of attack that happened? No. The only thing that happened was the attack on the idea of the melting pot. The idea that you're an American first, doesn't matter how you look or what gender you are. They created a toxin that they put in that melting pot. And now, all of a sudden, race relations are worse and people are at each other's throat, but primarily in these little factions in the identity politic world. This is a filter, Harold, and I'm talking about identity politics. It is a filter put in place to destroy a country because it's absolutely opposite what a melting pot is.
We shouldn't forget we have a history in our country where we had slavery for a long time.
Yes, and we ended slavery. And we ended it, Harold. We fought a war to end it. I think aren't we the only country to ever fight a war to end slavery? We didn't start slavery. Where did slavery start? It's an ugly fact. It's not from us.
But Greg, then we had laws in our books that didn't allow black people.
I understand that.
So I agree with you. I agree with you about the race. I wish they didn't talk about race, but would you agree with me that you shouldn't redraw congressional lines mid-decade? That's what the president's doing.
I don't care.
Well, no.
I look at these districts and I see all of these Republicans and no representation.
Yeah, Greg is absolutely 100% correct on this, because literally every single race-baiting, fear-monger tactic that's out there that the leftards use is literally mostly lies. Like, literally, they will repeat the most stupidest lies without ever fact-checking what they're saying. And the biggest one right now just got mentioned about slavery. I mean, literally, right now, you could ask any liberal college student or, you know, kids that are in liberal towns and stuff like this and ask them, how did slavery happen? How did we get slaves here? And they literally think that white people went on a boat to Africa and kidnapped these people. Because that's what their teachers, their professors, and everything is teaching them. That there's literally zero fact-checking why these people are angry, but they just want to be angry.
That's not true. I don't believe this. They're lying on the news.
Are they talking about Josh?
It's definitely an upside-down, messed-up world. And it's never going to get solved until people actually really start correcting everything.
Freedom or everything is lost. Everything.
Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
What do you guys think about this? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
People don't understand. We don't live in a democracy. This country is not a democracy. It is a republic. A democracy is ruled by the mob. The mob always votes themselves every kind of benefit that they can vote themselves. And whenever you do that, it means large, tremendously overpowering government in control. Getting together is going to really be difficult, but we've got to do it. Because if we don't wake up and do it ourselves, these men who meet in secret and plot the manipulations are going to do it whether we want it or not, and they're going to do it at the point of a gun. And they're going to take away everybody's freedom because they don't consider us responsible.
Capable of having that freedom.
Are capable, or even of using our intellect. So they'll put us in shackles and control us and force us to be peaceful. That's what the plan is, and that's what the New World Order is all about.
A democracy is a political system in which the people periodically, by majority vote at the polls, select their rulers. The rulers then have absolute power to make whatever laws they please by majority vote among themselves. In a constitutional republic, the people also, by majority vote at the polls, select rulers, who make laws by majority vote among themselves. But the rulers cannot make any laws they please because the Constitution severely restricts their lawmaking power. The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty. In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic and transforming it into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of American principles of government. The writers of the Constitution were anxious to safeguard liberty against dictatorship, monarchy they called it. But their chief anxiety was to protect the country against democracy. Edmund Randolph, delegate to the Constitutional Convention from Virginia, said the general object of the convention was to provide a cure for the follies and fury of democracy. Elbridge Gerry and Roger Sherman, delegates from Massachusetts and Connecticut, urged the Constitutional Convention to create a system to eliminate the evils that flow from the excess of democracy. Alexander Hamilton, delegate from New York, said, "We are now forming a Republican government. Real liberty is not found in democracy. If we incline too much to democracy, we shall soon shoot into a monarchy." John Adams, one of the giants of the American Revolutionary period, said, "Democracy will envy all, contend with all, endeavor to pull down all. And when by chance it happens to get the upper hand for a short time, democracy will be revengeful, bloody, and cruel." America was founded not as a democracy, but as a constitutional republic. We pledge allegiance to the republic, for which our flag stands, not to a democracy. The Constitution requires a republican form of government for all states, but does not mention democracy, and neither does the Declaration of Independence or the Bill of Rights. Someone asked him what kind of government the convention had given America, and Franklin replied, "A republic, if you can keep it." Very old and very wise, Franklin saw through the mists of time to the day when Americans might trade their freedom in a constitutional republic for the promise of government guaranteed equality and security in a democracy. And beyond that, to the day when democracy inevitably degenerates into dictatorship, guaranteeing nothing but poverty, and serfdom for the people it robs and rules.
From redacted file, they lock the doors while he picks the dial. Watch the firewall crumble fast. Nothing built to hide can ever last. Search the wire for the missing pieces. Find the signal in the broken static. Joshua tells what they keep hidden. Seeking the truth while the clock is ticking. Search the wire for the missing pieces. Find the signal in the broken static. In one single place, no more lies on a suit and tie face. Joshua News running day and night. Joshua News keeping up